Sincerity demands commitment to roles. The outside is real, and the inside must back it up honestly. Otherwise, it is considered a dishonest fake. Authenticity demands the pursuit of originality. The inside is real, and the outside must be an accurate representation of it. Otherwise, it is considered a hypocritical facade. Profilicity demands the creation of profiles. The outside is real, and the inside must be truly invested in it. Otherwise, it is considered a deceptive fraud. Everyone is genuinely pretending. Every mode of identity makes us experience selfhood. But none really matches up all the incongruent dimensions of human life. Thank you very much.
Growing up, I was always the smart guy in class, and I was always the naughty and talkative guy. I wasn't always like that, but one day it just clicked. Here it is, dancing the very popular Wonder Girls Nobody K-pop dance. And I was kind of avant-garde, dancing this kind of female dance with my wonderful body language. I guess I was always born to be a K-pop star. Going into secondary school for unknown reason, I get the exact same disease Michael Jackson had that made him pale and white. And I wasn't very happy, but I guess Michael Jackson had it and I have it, so that's kind of cool. That makes my stardom even better. Here it is making a random short film in Macao about tourism. Back then, tourism was very good. Here in Macao, life was easy, although my family always said that we are poor, but I guess I can eat and I don't worry about things. I was enjoying life in general. The plan for us students, or for me, was always get good grades, get good jobs, get good salary, and end your life stably. And I was about to do that. It seems easy to do. Everyone could get a job, and I was always having some job offer. And we turned down job all the time. And as we see, there were so many tourists. Every single tourist we see means we have more money. So although we don't like, or at least I don't like, the crowded space we have in Macau, it was fine. More crowded equals more people equals more money. Fast forward, it is my graduation night of my secondary school. Soon I will be entering the best university in Macau because my family doesn't want me to leave Macau. From my posing, my posture, you can see I am being serious. I am about to win the League of Legends Championship in University of Macau. What a nice university life. But seriously, we have a quite balanced life, having fun, having work done, and overall it was productive, it was fun, everything was good. Because I was majoring in communication and creative media, I even started my own YouTube channel just to see what would happen. In fact, I started quite a few YouTube channels, and a few of them get modest success, I would say. But one day, the pandemic started. The COVID-19 came. Everything becomes less fun, becomes less good, becomes less easy. I'm about to graduate, but I could not see a way out. The job market in Macau is doomed because the tourism industry is doomed. So few tourists come here. I decided I should continue my education and do a master degree just to see what will happen after 2 years. And I want to do a documentary on identity, perhaps on my identity, and it also could be on the identity of Macau, as it is at an interesting point to say the least, as everything is about to change because of pandemic. And I want to explore who the heck am I really? And also because there is a professor around me always talks about identity.
Okay, Professor Muller,
Yeah.
one challenge for you.
Okay.
You talk about identity a lot, but why is identity so important? Can you explain that in a minute?
It doesn't count. My thinking
okay.
time doesn't count.
Yes,
okay.
we're taking a bit.
So you want to know why is it so important? The term is basically new, pretty new. It's not been along for a very long time.
Yeah.
And so I can answer the question with respect to Luhmann. I don't know if that's still, the minute is in a sense already gone, but I'm still thinking aloud. So let's say, why is it important? Because it's no longer given. That's when it becomes important. That's also what Luhmann said, right? In old days, identity was simple, and you didn't question it because it was obvious to everyone. But then in modernity, it's no longer obvious, and that's why it becomes important.
In his book, Professor Muller talks about 3 types of identity.
In earlier times, identity was typically assigned by the social roles one was born into. Along with birth came not only one's gender, but also one's tribal or ethnic identity, one's social class, one's profession, and one's religion. Identification then typically consisted in committing to the roles people found themselves in by embracing the norms and internalizing the values attached to these roles. This is what we call, following Lionel Trilling, sincerity.
The dinner table is no place for discontent. It makes dad and mother uncomfortable and unhappy.
In modernity, society became more dynamic. Identity then became a problem. It was no longer almost ready-made at birth, but something to be discovered. Traditional role identities prescribed by society began to appear as external facades imposed on people whose real self was to be found somewhere underneath. The conception of the social role as a mask covering up one's true identity became a prime metaphor, along with a newly emerging quest for what now seemed to be the foundation of identity: authenticity.
Be yourself. Just be sure it's your best self. This is better.
Just as sincerity lost its grip on society and individuals with a shift toward modernity, authenticity is now fading away, along with more recent changes. Today, society has switched almost entirely to second-order observation. This means, in line with sociologist Niklas Luhmann's usage of the term, we do not simply look at people or issues directly, but rather at how they are seen publicly by others. We have developed the ability to judge products in terms of brands, and people in terms of their profiles, and academics in terms of their citations. We observe first how things are seen. Learning to see in this way, we also learn to show ourselves in this very same manner. We form identity through curating profiles.
And this is the most advanced mode of creating identity: prophylicity. And Professor and I have quite some experience on this. Because of the pandemic, German philosopher Hans-Georg Müller is trapped in Macau. Because of this opportunity, we are able to build some identities together.
How did we start it? Like years ago, 3-4 years ago, I was your student.
Right.
Yeah, like in my 3rd year in communication, I took your class, And then after that year, you certainly somehow contacted me about YouTube. Do you remember that? You had like a bigger office.
Yeah, I know that
Yeah.
I had the bigger office, but I don't remember that.
Yeah.
You tell me.
Yeah, I guess it was like we were talking about. I was asking you how should I step forward in terms of the philosophical things. What is my next step after finishing your class, right?
Yeah.
And then somehow we were talking about the YouTube things, and I guess I was bragging that I am so successful when I'm doing YouTube.
You were telling me about your channel.
Yes. I guess I'm actually always trying to pull people around me to do YouTube together. It would be more fun. So I guess I'm teaching you how to do YouTube in that way.
Yeah.
But suddenly after that, you didn't have much interest. I guess you were just mildly interested.
I mean, the first video that we did.
Yes.
Was the one on Harris.
Yeah.
Why did we do this? It was your suggestion,
Yes.
and you suggested me to read the book because you had read the book. And
I
then
am telling you what to
you
do.
exactly,
Yes.
and then you gave me the
Assignment.
audio. Even you
Question.
gave me the illegally copied audio book.
Yes. Oh, this cannot be on tape. Yes. Yeah.
Now that I think about it, perhaps there is another reason why I ended up working with Professor Muller. I guess it is also because I was a little bit insecure because I made videos, I shared my thoughts, I shared my ideas, but I don't know if they are worth to be heard. Especially after doing so many videos, it doesn't seem to change anything.
Hello，歡迎嚟到呢個 Faibro channel。今日
Hello，歡迎嚟到 Faibro channel。今日
Hello，歡迎嚟到 Faibro channel。今日 FIVG 巡迴演唱會2017要嚟到廁所，咁我就
Previously, before 2019, I could make videos all day, all time, every day, every second. 12 minutes video, 20 minutes videos. It was not a big problem. It was like a daily task. However, one day I just stopped. I stopped making videos perhaps because the uncertainty in Hong Kong was worrying me. I stopped perhaps because of COVID is making me depressed. I stopped perhaps because in Macao, the tourism industry is doomed and I cannot find a job. Or perhaps I stopped just because I grew older. I don't know.
No, you don't want it.
Well, I think we can use it for if we have a scripted text.
Yeah, this is a teleprompter.
Yes.
We can simulate some eye contact, supposedly, so that Professor Muller can look into the camera while reading the PPT or text or images.
Yes. So we are simulating authenticity.
But why did you want that?
It looks strange if in the video if I'm always looking somewhere else.
Yes. But in reality, you are usually talking to me, and I find disconnected when you started to look too much into the camera. Actually,
That's right.
Yeah, that's actually true.
We don't use it. We just use as we did last time. We just use the slides and I talk directly to you.
Yes.
I think that works.
Like in the beginning, right? You were not used to it and you were always looking at me. And when you get used to it, you start to not look at me.
Yes,
I felt
but now I look
disconnected.
again at you.
Yeah. So what was the switch? It is true, like the audience said, right?
I think the switch was actually because I was getting more focused on the PPTs because I was no longer talking that naturally because I was much more conscious of being filmed and I was too nervous.
Yeah.
So I always was sticking to the script.
Yeah. At the beginning, you thought no one watches.
Yes.
So you don't care.
Yes.
But later on, you care.
Exactly.
So social validation feedback loop.
Yes.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, but right now...
Our YouTube channel, Careful Wondering, has attracted 2 million views and gained over 50k subscribers. Through this process, Professor Muller and I learned a lot about online identity creation. And I also had this first-hand experience of seeing Professor Muller is seeking the validation of the audience. We constantly look at the numbers, look at the views, look at the subscribers count, and we make videos according to the response. But it seems that it is not so easy to transition from one identity mode to another. There are some problems when we transitioned.
This is basically what keeps us addicted. Right? That we always want to remain in touch, no longer with our family members, no longer with our soulmate, but with a general peer. But the general peer is not just an abstract thing, which it also is outside. It is also something with which we are bonding through these social validation feedback loops. So that is the way how we bond nowadays. That's an extraordinary change to these previous models of identity formation. In fact, most of us use ratings and rely on algorithms that churn out rankings in academics, in gaming, for insurance, in financing, for shopping, for social media, in tourism, you name it. And we're rather comfortable doing so on a daily basis. In a society where we need to interact with people whom we have no time, no desire, and no need to know authentically or sincerely, we often know one another through profilicity or profile-based identity. This works. We are in it together.
The conflict between your inner self, your family, and your public image is something that is intriguing to me. I have been in this too. And it's interesting to see Professor Muller, despite having so deep philosophical foundation, he cannot escape this too. I started to wonder, what if I apply these ideas on a city, Macau? What is the identity mode of Macau is like? Is Macau having an identity crisis just like us? And what to do about it? Naturally, I start to think about why a German dude, Professor Hans-Gerd Muller, comes to an Asian place to work. He then told me coming to Macau and work was his dream decades ago. Here is the proof.
I loved Macau.
In order to understand Professor's rationale more, I told him to bring me to the places he visited in Macau in the 1980s.
So I came here in the late 1980s, 1988 it must have been, and stayed in a hotel very close by. And I remember one of the first things we did at the time was walking around this little hill here because it's green. And then up here, the church is, I think, totally fascinating. This 17th century little church, which looks just like a Mediterranean church, I mean, Portuguese built, but it could also be in, for instance, in Mexico or so, and it's also very reminiscent of colonial Portuguese and Spanish architecture, which has a very strong aesthetic appeal to Europeans of my generation, right? You have it in the Western movies, so you could also be like a place in Mexico or so. And so it's a journey back in history. And this is combined very much, if you look at it now, just the colors. I mean, the green of the tree, the blue of the sky, the white of the church, the yellow of the church, and it's just a fantastic aesthetic combination. And also, of course, the spot on top of the hill overlooking the ocean. So it's basically a super picturesque. It's just like, again, it could be in a tourist brochure, but at the same time, it does have a very strong personal aesthetic effect on me.
It's not easy to say if Professor Muller is enough with the sincere Macau, authentic Macau, or prophilic Macau. But the term Professor chooses to use here is very interesting. He explains the word picturesque in another occasion.
For me, I think a decisive way of explaining how prophilicity occurred already quite early
is the notion of the picturesque. And some people are not really familiar with it, so I just explain it very briefly. This was a notion that came up in art and aesthetics in the 18th century. Still today have the notion of picture perfect, right? That's basically a more modern translation of picturesque. That was an aesthetic category. So let's say people were traveling and they were looking at the scenery, and then they were saying, wow, this is great, it just looks like a landscape painting. Or people were looking at a person and they were saying, oh, he or she is so beautiful, looks just like this person on a painting. This expresses the logic of the picturesque and actually the logic of prophilicity, that you look at something and you measure it in how it compares to how it has been already observed by others.
We evaluate things based on second-order observation, and we build things based on second-order observation. But in this process, are we neglecting the first-order observation? I'm thinking in a tourism city, it is more or less inevitably changed from a sincere or authentic city to a more publicity-based city. I think this is inevitable. But if in a hyper-tourism city, what if everything is done for the sake of being seen as being done? Would that create any problem? Nowadays, taking photo has become a very common activity, especially when you go travel. Therefore, we want to understand and explore the notion Daka, punching in, punching out, clocking in, clocking out. Because it seems a tourism city needs to be Dakatable. I decided first to check with some friends who were also students of Muller.
Kevin, you took 2 courses from Professor Muller too?
4 courses.
4 courses.
4 courses.
Okay. So what do you think about Professor Muller?
I think the combination of Chinese philosophy, especially Taoism, and social theory, especially media theory, this combination is a good try. At least very unique.
Yes.
Yeah.
Often he does not teach what he thinks or believes in classes. He
Yeah.
often teaches what he does not believe. Like he does not like
By teaching what he does not
Yeah.
believe, you know what he believes.
Yes, he teaches Kant and then subvert Kant's morality, for example, and
Yeah.
other things. So it was interesting because I often thought what he taught was what he believed, but it was not the case. Yeah, it was very funny. Yeah, right. Bob agrees.
Agree.
Do you like Muller?
Likewise.
Seriously. What is Dakat?
Dakat is to create memory.
Oh, create memory.
Yeah.
浪漫 romantic. Oh. What is Dakat?
Daka is unreflectively taking photo and posting on social media, and after posting, never review it. It's not memory.
Oh, different. Oh. What do you think? Different. Oh.
I don't agree with Kevin because I think Dakat do not necessarily need to post on social media. You can just treasure it by yourself.
For you,
Don't
it's
need
create
to-
memory.
Yeah, don't need to show anybody or to your friends.
So saving in the iPhone storage also is Dakat. Just
Yeah.
saving. Okay.
Yeah, I'm also doing the same.
So taking photo is important, but
It's one way to execute Dakat.
beside taking photo, what else can be Dakat?
Like a memory, like writing diary can be one of the ways.
You write journal recently.
Yes.
What is Dakat?
You create a car first and and use the car to hit the
It seems there are different interpretations and understandings of the notion Dakat. But one thing we can be sure is that Macau is a very easy or good place for 打卡.
A totally different flair, and you can walk through it, and it's a different world with different languages, different food, and a different feeling right next to all the other areas.
Professor, like a lot of people who have been Macau or live in Macau, find Macau is a small place. And in a small place, there are so many different cultures, so many different things happening. And because of that, it is a very good and very easy place for you to 打卡. When you go to the next block, you can 打卡. When you go to another block, you see another restaurant, you go inside and buy the food and 打卡. It's very easy. We can 打卡 every day. With Chinese culture, with Western culture, both is available. But is this 打卡 good for us anyway?
The original 打卡 means the car comes from the
Company.
I did this when you go to work.
Yes, you have to 打卡.
Yes, car is for card.
Yes,
then we should
yes,
explain that.
Yes.
And da means hit,
Yes,
literally,
yes,
hit
yes.
the card.
Nowadays, there are full of apps that help the 打卡, right? I think when I go travel, I always look at the apps. What is the top 5 must-go place?
Yes.
And we go.
The way I used to travel, which is true, I would not use the guidebooks. And oftentimes I or we then would end up in areas that were not interesting at all. I would travel by maps. So I really liked maps. And then I would tell from the map, looking at the map, what seemed interesting. Because at the map you can of course see, is there whatever. So you don't need a guidebook. And there's no to-do list on the map. But it's different, let's check out the market, let's check out the Renmin Gongyuan, the People's Park, right? Let's check out the history museum. But it would not necessarily be, let's clock it, let's get it off the...
You're saying this as a problem, but you also have the authenticity kind of clinging to this, no?
Yeah, of course, it's fake authenticity.
Yeah, you're clinging to this, yeah. You're also trying to kind of be cool, right?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. Some problem out of Dhaka. Because the city, a tourism city wants to be visited, they need to make the places very Dhaka-able.
Right.
Dhaka-able. 可打卡的.
Right.
Yes. And it might create problems. You speak or spoke very highly of Macau, but what do you think about this problem?
The big problems, basically all the European cities have been totally ruined by tourism. And there are many social problems. One of the most horrible places I've ever been to was before the pandemic, so it's a few years ago, in Lisbon, which is a small city, actually, the old city. And it's crowded with tourists. Everything is just in the Venetian, basically. It's just for catering to tourists. One of the main tourist things in Lisbon are these small streetcars, streetcars. It's ridiculous. The tourists literally they crammed and they have to, with the arms and heads out of the window and the door, and so that the locals cannot pay the rent anymore. They have no restaurants there that are good or that they can afford, and they can't even take the public transport.
Yes, yeah.
So those are very real problems.
Bad. Yes. And people go there not necessarily really appreciate the culture, but perhaps to be seen as experiencing a culture.
Sure.
It's more like that, right? Going to this place and then next.
They know nothing really, except the 5 things you need to know.
Yeah. The government actually is pushing a route to travel in Macau.
Sure.
So go to this route, you will experience this.
Yes.
Go to this route, you will experience this. And
which
go
is
to
true.
and then after this, you finish.
In the end, then it will turn out to be also in the big. It's always the same thing, right? Go there to find out the authentic Macau, which at the beginning is true.
Yes.
But then it becomes a route, and everything becomes organized touristically, and then by going there, you ruin it.
Yes.
I mean, that's been the whole paradox whatever, you go to explore nature.
Yeah.
Right? And then many people go there and then they destroy the nature.
Tourism has undoubtedly changed Macau. Macau is no longer a place for fishing, for ship making, or clothes making. However, we serve expensive, well-made food to people. We use our ship for sightseeing, and we sell luxurious branded clothes. During COVID, tourism has been doomed. There was some discussion going on whether it is good for Macau because it is more quiet. Macau has become back to just like the past. I don't deny that I like this quietness. I figure I cannot really interview Macau as a city. I could interview the local people who are living in this place. I chose to contact Ron, which is a part-time animator for Hans-Gerd Moller for our Philosophy in Motion Zhangzi Story channel, because he is working in a casino while also studying a MA degree in University of Macau, while also have to finish the animation soon.
好似偷拍，正咩瞓醒啊你？
食飯，你食晚飯。
佢哋吹頭啊！
I told Ron that I am going to interview him regarding the work we do with Hans-Gerd Moller because it's a nice excuse to have him on board with me, and I do hope that he can inform me about the identity of Macau a little bit more. The thing Ron is doing right now is clearly a sign that he feels pressure because of publicity. He is afraid that his image might be presented not very well, and I am showing this clip for the simulated authenticity for the audience to know better about Ron.
你係咪真係做 animation 㗎？哇！咁你咁靚仔，笑死啊！
上鏡啊嘛，你要。
我知。
個教授見到話：哇！屌你條友喺屋企，你屋企啱啱瞓醒起身做嘢啊
？OK， 順啦，順啦。
Hello 各位觀眾朋友，大家好。
笑咗。
唔係你個 audience 係咩人先？
你就當我啦，你當係我咯。
都得。
你當係我啦，你當係我啦，係啊。
都得。Hello 我係 Ron 啦，咁我係屌真係好撚奇怪。我諗下先。
你望住我啦，一係你驚鏡頭嘅話。
我諗到要講咩。我諗下。Hello I'm 1、2、3、4。Hello I'm 突然間轉咗。講
英文笑死 I am。
即係咪過慣咗咧
？Hello I'm Ron。
得你先。Hello 咁我係 Ron 啦，我係呢個FST 嘅研究生。咁咧因為一啲機緣巧合啦，咁啊受到Faibro 邀請啊，幫 Professor Miller 唔係咩點讀啊 ？Muller。Okay.
The first animation Ron helped doing is the Butterfly Dream 莊周夢蝶, and it is a very famous story from Zhangzi, and Ron did a very good job animating this.
The Butterfly Dream. Once Zhongzhou in a dream turned into a butterfly. There was a butterfly joyfully fluttering about. It followed its whims exactly as it liked and knew not of a Zhou. Suddenly waking up, there was Zhou, fully there. One does not know if a Zhou in a dream turned into a butterfly, or if a butterfly in a dream turned into a Zhou. There was a Zhou, and there was a butterfly. So there surely was a separation. This is what is called the transformation of things.
This animation was uploaded a year ago with explanation by Hans-Gerd Moller, and it was quite successful, getting over 20k, even 30k views, and Ron is very happy about this. Although the pace he is working in the later videos was significantly slower, but perhaps Ron is really busy because of the work and of the study. After finishing the second animation, Happy Fish, Ron basically stopped. 其實你之前不斷覺得好麻煩喎，唔想幫 Mula 做落去咯喎，唔想幫。
其實就係礙於時間嘅問題，即係如果你
因為你而家翻緊工同埋翻緊學，咁呢個係要講出嚟，係啊，又即係叫咩咧？叫唔叫半工讀？唔係半工讀喎，應該係全工讀喎，即係你係翻 full time 㗎嘛。
full time job student 好似有個 title 嘅，即係個學院嗰邊俾個名。
翻幾多日啊？一個禮拜？
一個禮拜5日咯，9至7，或者6啊，翻到屋企7。
跟住
但我7點鐘起身，8點鐘出門口。你諗下都幾長時間。你要翻到屋企你冇嘢做啦，食完個飯都差唔多要瞓覺。
有冇到長巴？
有 shuttle，但係8點鐘啊嘛。
哦，你話唔翻學喎？不過你話呢排？
唔係唔翻學，係因為個教授隔離緊咯。
真係㗎
？online 咯
，online course。咁所以就冇乜時間做動畫落去咯，即係兼顧唔到。
即係因為你星期六日你都要唞啊，唔使唞嘅，咁
休息下玩下。
你可能最多1日，跟住應該咁講，因為時間唔同咗，跟住咧，而且因為即係我自己覺得咧，呢個 project 係比較連續性嘅，即係你話好難將片咧講10分鐘嘅片，咁樣可能每日做10秒咁樣比較困難，即係通常你一做咧就要做1分鐘到2分鐘，即係至少一個段落啦。係啊，咁你即係嗰個工時可能又講緊係1日到2日啦，即係可能10零個鐘咁樣。咁就比較上就比較困難啦，因為我依家係一個叫咩啊 full time job student 嘅身份啊嘛，跟住要翻工係翻學，咁平日啦講緊星期1到5就冇咩時間，咁基本上每次都係星期6日㗎啦，咁但係星期6日就唔可以擔保話冇乜嘢㗎嘛，因為你有時又要翻學交嘢啊，跟住你有時即係你翻學㗎啦，翻學你就做功課咁樣，
所以都冇時間休息。
即係可能每個月都係得2個禮拜嘅星期6日係可以得閒搞呢樣嘢。咁就即係簡單嚟講，咗個連續時間太少啦，就冇辦法好快咁動工，同埋好快咁完成。最主要呢個問題，即係時間嘅問題，就唔係啲咩特別大嘅問題。佢應該就唔會催你嘅，暫時都冇催咯。但係其實我都搞緊㗎啦，即係嗱好老實講，其實如果即係你有一個2、3日，即係其實我早排請咗假做咗啲畫咗啲圖啊，但係未開始用，但係。哇！即係其實好有難度啊，因為我唔知有冇同你講，我上個禮拜我老豆入咗院，跟住我侄都入咗院。真係㗎！跟住咧，我原本諗住嗰個禮拜請咗假去做嘢，跟住我媽，你送飯啦，快啲去送飯，你快啲去送飯。咁冇佢哋咩事啊？冇事啊嘛。冇事啦，依家。咩？我個侄就食物中毒，佢1歲啫嘛。係你係叔㗎啦，你係。跟住我老豆係咩啊？你啲心臟衰竭，送咗入院，但係冇咩嘢，年紀大啊嘛。我諗就嚟8張啊，差唔多啦。即係呢啲冇得講啊。唔知㗎啦，80都高啦。你唔係病啊嘛，你係身體機能嘅問題。係，反正就係咁啦。呢個係事實咯，即係其實係有啲嘢係。即係簡單嚟講，你。I did not expect the conversation will lead to this way. I am feeling that perhaps my personal issue is the most important right now. The people who are close to me are the ones I should be worried about. Perhaps my personal identity is what I should be concerned right now and not about Macau. But perhaps living in Macau, my personal identity and my way of life is bounded by this time and space. I cannot help but remember the animation Ron did is exactly about identity and life and death.
A philosophy of life and death. The butterfly is an obvious image of this transformation. It undergoes the radical change from a crawling earthbound caterpillar to a winged flying creature. The story suggests that humans too can undergo such changes when dreaming. While the transition from waking to dreaming is a small nightly occurrence we are perfectly accustomed to, the big transition between life and death is more dramatic and happens less frequently, but it happens just as surely.
I remember discussing about this story and life and death with Professor Hans-Georg Moller just when COVID started. It seems, although the story was very powerful to me, that dying perhaps is just another dream that you undergo, just like every night you go to sleep. However, in practice, sometimes at night when I think about my death or someone close to me might die, this story and philosophy just doesn't convince me to not be scared. Whenever I think about the fact that I might die or someone close to me will die, I feel powerless and empty.
應你拜拜啊！你咪唔送我走啊？頂！
你需要落，我叫你自己走啊！
你咁樣先好睇噶嘛？頂你嗰啲
Siri 關晒所有燈。
嚇！你紀錄片
佢唔出聲喎，你睇下，好廢。
佢唔想趕我走啊！
喂 Siri 關晒所有燈。
冇啊！
拜拜。
頂你紀錄片咁樣完咁搞笑嘅咩？搞到好似俾人趕走咁。
In order to try to understand the identity of Macao better, I contact 3 friends to talk with. The reason why I choose them is because, in contrast to Hans-Georg Moller, who wanted to come to Macau and live and work here, all these 3 interviewees have something in common. They all don't want to stay in Macau. Although they are not the same, of course, their family background, their characters, and even their biological differences. For example, Jackie.
首先個 context 即係個上問下你係觀眾，唔知你係邊個咯。跟住我哋準備要做一連串訪問，咁如果你要介紹俾觀眾聽你係邊個，咁你會點介紹自己？
其實我都諗下要突出我嘅優點定係突出我成個內優點咁嘅點睇得咯。因為我第一點好明顯都係講嘢咯，但呢個係比較最重要咯。但係呢個係冇計㗎啦。所以我講嘢都會好好奇我覺得啱唔啱，唔係好好奇我講得清唔清楚。佢一般嚟講，你後來係有一條隨住嘅嘢啊嘛。
係喎，你冇嗰粒嘢。
係啊。之後嗰一粒嘢好似啦，我都唔係咁清楚啦。
但係你係冇嘅。我
係非常之短，幾乎係冇嘅。
咁嗰條嘢。
聽我上網查啦，好似嗰一粒嘢係。可以將你嘅皮同埋喉嚨隔開嘅嘢。
所以佢就好長，你嘅太短，所以就做唔到嗰樣嘢啊嘛。
差唔多啦。咁而家就係我講嘢啊嘛，你氣從出嚟嘅時候，一般人都係會從口出啊嘛，咁木皮會阻住佢，咁就唔會從皮出嚟。咁你如果你要發皮音嘅時候，你可以控制佢喺度皮出嚟啊嘛。
咁即係鼻嗰個口。
係啊，咁我係控制唔到嘅。
就好多時都會鼻同口都會出。
係啊，我經常會喺度皮出咯。咁就令我皮音好重。
I found many interesting themes between these 3 people. To use Professor Hans-Georg Moller's language, they all authentically want to go to another place. Yan Liu wants to stay in Taiwan.
今日係4月5號，台灣呢邊就放清明年假，放4日嘅最後1日啦。咁Faibro就問我對於澳門嘅而家澳門有咩睇法，同埋未來澳門有咩睇法啦。咁我就諗下點回答先。即係其實對以前嘅澳門就比較對我理解比較單純啲，因為可能讀大學都係嚟台灣呢邊讀，跟住喺澳門嗰邊其實都未算接觸到社會。據我所知，而家澳門經濟唔係好好，跟住工作應該都比較難揾啦。其實都對於而家澳門睇法就其實唔係幾睇得到澳門嘅未來喺邊咯，即係 澳門有除咗博彩之外，基本上真係冇咩行業係發展得好嘅。其實如果到時候澳門真係冇咩自己嘅特色或者乜嘢嘅話，可能50年後就即係直接就中國就全面管治咁樣，即係回歸大陸，完全回歸大陸咁咯，即係係咯。對澳門嘅未來就係可能要真係要產生一種自己獨有嘅特色或者專業，或者可以俾人會留低你嘅，即係留低你有呢個價值嘅，佢先會留俾你繼續喺度生。
Although Yanniu doesn't think very highly of Macau, he is coming back to Macau soon because of his family pressure. It is not clear how he would handle the relationship he has in Taiwan. He has a girlfriend there and he has a job there and he has many friends there. On the other hand, Jackie and Sam wants to stay in Japan. Jackie and Sam also because of family pressure. They all have to stay in Macau. It seems because of our culture is still role-based and we value our family more than our inner self. While in terms of publicity, their common theme is they're afraid of their profile might not be good enough. Their resume, their degree might be worse than the others. Sam was always the popular guy in school. You know, he is the cool guy, talkative, has many friends. And after graduation, he jumped from the highest to the lowest point. And after graduating from university, Sam sent many series to many companies. Despite that, he could not get a job. He is very disappointed and very discouraged. He lost all his confidence. In the latest interview with Sam, perhaps because of Sam was being too graphic, my microphone was scared.
唯一係唔知可以做啲咩，其實都冇乜意思嘅做㗎。其實係㗎，我諗咗好多嘢做緊係冇意思㗎。你會唔會明點解要有錢呢樣嘢？人嘅一生就圍繞住錢呢樣嘢。你會唔會後悔喺呢個世界出現啊？會啊，我都唔知我出現係點。如果我知道我20年後係咁嘅樣，我就會自己去跳樓。咁你又唔跳咧？依家，因為我仲有嘢，暫時有一樣嘢想做。日本係啊。所以呢個當我做完之後，去到嗰度發現冇嘢想做，我就會做。咁會唔會要阻止你去日本啊？唔想死㗎？
He was hinting at the idea of killing himself and the idea that life has no meaning and we shouldn't even be born. And I kinda understand the thought and emotion. After all, if we are never born, we won't have so many needs, so many wants. We couldn't choose where we were born. We didn't ask to be born, and we are not presented with the option of whether to be born or not. I don't know whether I should be carrying on the documentary. I want to take a break, so I go and talk with my girlfriend. Her name is Millie.
I'm俾你熱咗身啦，而家正式就係。呢個1mm。喺呢邊得定唔得嗰邊嚟㗎？
OK OK
呢個
OK。
OK
你再啫，我幾驚變咗兩邊都唔得。
OK 嘅。耶！
輕鬆。
呢個係得啲嗰個係嘛？另一邊咧？哇！佢握手都得啊！呢條誒都 OK 啊。
噔噔噔。啊！掂到啦！掂到啦！
Yes。打卡。
Jackie's parents never wanted him to be a musician, but Jackie likes playing the piano. But the last few years, Jackie feels like playing piano is a waste of time. Jackie's parents never wanted him to go to Japan. He tried anyway, but he failed recently. Recently, Jackie wants to pick music back up. I shared with him some of the skills he could use to improvise.
Dạ, có kiểu thế ạ.
Now, Jackie wants to be a composer. Because of Jackie, I was reminded about the fact that Millie has a song that was left unfinished. Previously, we already made a 2-minute demo in order to see if we can get some government fundings. I don't know if we were authentically bad, sincerely bad, or prophetically bad. We didn't get the funding. And we are kind of busy recently, so the song was left unfinished. I told her that she should finish the song because I think it is a good song and I enjoy it. Perhaps an acoustic version is also good. This is one of my favorite places in Macau. Although Professor Muller is more of a dog person, I bring him here anyway.
We are here in Cat Paradise, Professor Muller, and near your home.
Yes.
You suggested me a book regarding cat philosophy.
Yes.
I mean, a video, not a book.
Yes.
But what can cat teach us about identity?
Well, you know more about it. You actually read the book.
I mean, cat doesn't have like a strong identity. That's one thing related to our topic.
Right.
They don't think about their past. They don't feel sad about, yesterday I was so bad, that guy, or what did I do wrong?
Yes.
And they don't. Yeah, this is something that we didn't talk about, like the time element in terms of identity, right?
That is true.
They don't think about the future
Yes.
a lot.
Yes.
They eat when they want to eat.
Yes.
They are scared and they leave.
Yes.
When they want to be petted by you, they come.
Yes.
And then, yeah. So, but human beings are not.
No.
Human beings think about futures,
Yes.
often think about their past,
Yes.
and that's why they're sad.
Yes.
They are worried about their futures,
Right.
and they cannot live in the present.
Exactly.
And so we should be like cat.
Yes. But we cannot.
Yeah. Perhaps this desire to want to be cat also is something that already doomed us.
Yeah, the cats don't have a desire to be cat. That's also
Yeah.
right. They just are cats.
Yeah.
At least that's what we imagine. We don't know,
Yeah.
but it's what we imagine.
Yeah.
It's what they look like.
Yeah.
And it's hard not to imagine that they are kind of relaxed. I mean, just look at them. Look so relaxed.
Yeah.
Right?
As a video maker, YouTuber, or documentary maker, it is very tempting to try to put a conclusion at the end of the video. It is very tempting to say what I've learned today, what I've learned through this video. But I guess I will just share my regular secret meeting with my best philosophy teacher with you. If by any chance Millie finishes the song, perhaps I will play it here.